the way we responded in the second half, showed a lot of character for the group. It's fine margins in playoff games, and there's comes down to one or two plays sometimes. But I appreciated the commitment they showed through the year when we had our ups and our downs and our tough moments, that everybody stuck together. But it's tough. It's a tough locker room.
That last set you ran to aerial, kind of the back screen, was that what you were hoping to get?
Yeah, I'd have to watch it back to see, if it looked like it was there, but maybe just, a little, I don't know if she stumbled or was a little offline. I couldn't really tell. But, try to go for it quick and see if you get an offensive board if you miss it.
Tasha had to do so much. Sorry, one more. So Tasha had to do so much work just throughout this game offensively. Outside of her, what were the struggles offensively outside of Tasha?
Felt like a little bit of missing some good looks and, a little bit careless with the ball, which is a little uncharacteristic for us. Even at the end of the game, a couple turnovers, a couple plays we'd love to have back. But, both teams were pretty locked into each other defensively. They put Kayla Thornton on Tosh and Elena on, tried to body, and we just tried to keep making some plays. Obviously it's hard to dig yourselves out of a hole, but we did it.
The second straight season that, the luck of the draw in terms of the standings, in terms of how your regular season progresses, has you playing a team that is one of the title favorites in only the first round. Does this, another sweep, does this sort of feel different, or does it feel similarly the same last year in terms of, having fought so hard, having had a tough matchup in it, but at the end of the day, it looks the same?
Say it feels pretty similar, to be honest with you. Last year was, it was game one in Seattle that we had a great chance to win. Here it's game two. I don't need to speak about the format, but when you got a chance to win a road game in those first two, you got to close. We had a great opportunity in front of us to get it home for a game three. It was right there for the taking, and I guess probably 2 offensive boards by them. Let the game get to overtime. So it's tough. It's tough to go play a good team on the road, but whether it's the first round or the finals, you have to go win a road game against a good team at some point, most likely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Eric, just talk about Tosh. She obviously put it out there before the game, and she did a great job defensively and just had a career high tonight. She put it all on the floor and obviously gave you guys a chance to win this game. Is what she did for you. Can you talk about her effort?
I think most of the time when she talks, it's to get herself going. She answered the bell. When you put yourself out there like that, you have to back it up, and 100% she backed it up. Probably one of the best games of her career. I would just say I can't think of any better than that. Especially considering the way they were playing her and the people they were putting on her, to give that performance on a stage like this is extremely impressive.
A couple of things, a little more on Tasha. You talked pregame, there wasn't any doubt in your mind she's going to show up. She didn't answer the bell. She obviously did this last year in the season finale as well. Was there a moment early on you saw where you said, "Oh, okay, I see. This is the type of game we're getting from her"?
Some of it with her making shots, like she makes, she always defends, she always distributes. But when she saw a couple threes go down early, she can get on a streak like that. And she had some fantastic finishes around the basket, around length, getting hit in the face. And so we know the defense is there every night. And when she shoots it like that, it's a pretty complete player.
And just the contrast, Elena clearly wasn't 100%, wasn't herself in that way. How hard is it to kind of navigate that in game and, adjust, knowing that you're going to have to get it in a different way than perhaps you planned?
Yeah. It's tough. She puts a lot of work in defensively in this series too, given who she's matched up against. Maybe didn't quite have the legs on her jumper, so we got her a couple touches on the block late. It was a big shot in overtime when we needed one. But I appreciated her. She, like you said, I don't think she was feeling 100%. I haven't even talked to her about it, but it didn't look like she was feeling 100%, but came back in the game and closed it with her teammates for that final stretch.
Fourth quarter coming out of the huddle. What is the conversation like? Is there any pressure? Fourth quarter, 2 minutes, 40 seconds. You guys had it.
I can't remember exactly what the plays were coming out of that timeout. I'm sure we talked about rebounding and taking care of the ball. And I honestly can't remember what was the score at that point. I don't know. In that last, oh, we were up 7. We got up 7. Just digging in, trying to get stops. They made a couple tough buckets. We were a little bit careless, and you know, that's what they've done a lot in this building this year. New York, they're not out of a game at home.
Eric, it feels like this season there's been a lot of what ifs, maybe even tonight. And so I know it's all fresh, but how do you think you'll look back on this season? Maybe not dwelling too much on what could have been and trying to look forward, or taking the positives away from what did work, the resilience. How do you think you'll kind of think back to it?
Probably need a little time to get away from it to look back with some fresh eyes. But like you said, there are some what ifs. It felt like in the moment a difficult season to evaluate. We were just patching it together so much at times. But I think, you know, when you don't get to where you want to go, and obviously we weren't at full strength, but you evaluate everything. And, you know, players got some decisions to make. We got some decisions to make. And, you know, we'll make another run at it.
Coach, as someone that covered this team all year, you had the grit, grind, never gave up, went down swinging. Just talk about the heart you saw from this team all year with the injuries, even on the road in the game too, when you could have folded, brought it to overtime. Just talk about the Mystics' heart.
I mean, we got some champions on this team to start with. And you got some other ones that maybe weren't with that group, but they are super competitive. Slim, obviously, you know, everybody else that was in that starting group or that played minutes tonight was on that championship team. So I don't think a champion is going to quit in a situation like that. I appreciate the ones that came back from injury, that worked as hard as they did to be back there on the floor with their teammates. And I appreciate the ones who kind of carried us through the tough patch when we were missing people. So that's probably my overriding emotion from the season.
What was the message at halftime before the comeback in the third quarter, and what follows through did you see in the third quarter?
Sometimes it's real practical. I mean, we got to take better care of the ball. We got to defend the paint a little better. And, you know, we did for a while there in the second half. I think they got some in the paint at the end, but I didn't feel like we needed a big rah-rah. Like they were, you know, still pretty locked in, picking each other up. So it was just more some practical things, some small tweaks in the game plan.
Eric, kind of going off the stuff about the paint you were just talking about, how did you see Jonquel Jones affect this game in particular?
She's big and good. She's big and good. As a former MVP, took her a little bit of time to find her feet this year, and she's played well probably since, I don't know, June, I guess, July. But she got a huge offensive board when they needed it the most, for sure.
In the back, you know, in terms of getting into an offensive rhythm, how much was it something New York was doing? How much was it, if at all, some of the officiating kind of breaking up the game?
Trying to bait me.
I was curious. Yeah.
Our offensive rhythm?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a secret. It's been a little up and down for us offensively this year. But, you know, I've read it for a week about how they've been the best defense in the league for a while. And we've caused them some problems. I mean, the second half, I think we had them on their heels a bit. We make a couple more open shots. Don't throw the ball away a couple times. I think it's probably enough to win the game.
We'll go to Zoom now. We have time for one question. Jen?
Hey, Eric. With Tosh, you know, obviously you've had her in DC for years now. How have you seen her grow kind of from a rookie to a player now who's really shown in you know, elimination games the past 2 seasons?
Well, she wouldn't have scored 33 as a rookie. I know that. No, I think one of the trickiest things as a point guard is, you know, you probably count all the great ones, Sue, Lindsay, whoever, Sloot. It's a tricky balance on how aggressive to be when you know you got to get your teammates involved, and to strike a balance like she did tonight. It's something she's done in the playoff quite a bit, to be fair. You know, not just this year, not just last year, 2019, 2018. So I think she kind of peaks at this time of the year.
What is it about her that you think allows her to do that?
Well, she's not afraid of a big moment. I mean, she's competitive. She loves the challenge. She loves an environment like this. Like I said, when she talks like that, I think it's mostly for her own motivation. But obviously we saw some qualities when we drafted her, but you don't quite know how that's going to turn out. And it's obviously been a huge success over her time here.
And just last thing, how do you see her kind of, you know, she's talked all year about kind of staying calm, maintaining her composure, you know, being the water and less fire. And how do you see her kind of like balance all that out and still be fiery but, you know, not kind of boil over too much?
I think sometimes a big moment helps somebody like her, because you're just in it so much. You know, you're just on to the next thing. You know, you don't got a lot of time to dwell on a previous play. You're guarding Sabrina at one end. You're having to make plays at the other end. So you're just going. You know, not a lot of time for excess emotion. You just have to play.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Elena.
Hey.
Tough one out there tonight as a leader on this team. Did you have any words for the group in the locker room there post game?
Not really. Sometimes you just have to sit there and feel it. Read the room. Everybody was kind of just sitting there, and obviously I'm sure each one of us thinking about what we could have done, reflecting a little on the season. So no, I didn't feel like it was a moment for a speech or really anything.
Obviously a lot of attention on you again from their defense. What did you see from them, or how did they try to play you tonight? And second off, how are you feeling? I think we saw you go off at one point to kind of stretch. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was hip or back or whatever, but those two things for me, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a tough, long defense where, you know, they can change up the matchups and try to get us cross match, things like that. They played aggressive. Sometimes they sent doubles, sometimes they didn't. So kind of just keep you guessing and trying to like read what's going on. So credit to them on that. And then, yeah, I just had that drive that was a sloppy drive on my part, and just got a little bit stiff, needed to get some things loosened up, and was able to come back and at least play tough defense.
Hi, Elena. A couple things for me. First, just, you know, in terms of fighting the battle that you've always had to fight this time of year, you know, even in 19 when you won, you were fighting with the multiple vertebrae. You know, how frustrating is it to have to do it this time of year, year after year? And do you ever spend any time kind of thinking about, God, what would one playoffs be like when I'm healthy?
I've been healthy this playoff, so I definitely can't say that. You know, it was just a moment of a little bit of stiffness, but was able to get back out there. So I wouldn't say that. It's just more struggling to get a bit of a rhythm tonight, and, you know, trying to read when to attack, when to find others in the double through length. So just tough night offensively.
Sure. And then just, you know, Tasha's had this evolution as a player. Not that this is new, but it's the career high. It feels like this was new even for her. And as somebody who's had, you know, obviously the best seat in the house to be able to see her evolution, how do you account for it? What has allowed her to become this level of player?
She's just such a competitor. You know, in a moment like this where it's win or go home, she's going to give you absolutely everything she has on both sides of the ball. And that's just what Tasha does. And tonight the ball wasn't going in for most of us, and for her it was. So she was able to connect, be aggressive, put pressure on the rim, but also stretch them from three. And then defensively, she's always got one of the toughest tasks, guarding, you know, one of their best players. So she does it all. And, you know, you don't find that many point guards that can do that much at her size. So she's been a phenomenal point guard to be playing with for this many years.
Elena, what did you think was the biggest difference, I guess, in overtime in particular, to not get over the hump?
It's hard to get over a heartbreak of, some of the lack of discipline that we had that just couldn't finish the game. And then you've got a team with so many scorers, and at that point, some of us were in foul trouble. So they're able to kind of make us pay at that point. On their home floor, it's really tough to not finish the game when we felt like we could have, and then have to go and play in an overtime with this crowd, those type of players, some people in foul trouble. It just makes it really tough. We put ourselves in a really hard position.
Any more in-person questions?
Tyler?
Hey, Elena, it seemed sometimes in that game that the offense was a little bit sticky and not being able to get in your normal flow that you were as a unit. How do you think the offense as a whole was able to move the ball and get to your spots collectively as a group?
You got to credit New York with their size and their, ability to guard different positions and switch some things. It makes it tough. But the stickiness has been a problem all season. That we just haven't been able to fully overcome. So I think we saw that come up in the first game, and then this one as well, in certain moments where you need something good. We just weren't able to get it done.
And a quick follow-up, I know you spoke on Tosh, but when Tosh is cooking in the way that she was tonight, what are you looking to do to try and play off of her and make sure that you can provide something similar to support her game?
Just trying to, first of all, tell her to continue to attack. And then I feel like either set ball screens for her where, she can turn the corner because they're not going to help too much off of me, or even just space the floor and be a little bit of a decoy at times. So, when she's cooking like that, you don't have to do too much. Just make sure she continues to attack, because she is always worried about getting everybody else involved. And it's like, look, you're the one who's hot right now. Keep it going.
Elena, the last couple seconds of regulation, I mean, Sabrina missed 2 free throws. You guys missed the box out. Junk will go put back. And you had chances. I mean, were those what you're talking about? Like just right there, that one little thing could have gone a different way and you'd be going back home to play again?
Yeah. I mean, you all saw it. We felt it. Jonquil's a phenomenal rebounder, and she's really hard to keep off the glass. So you just know she's going to go at that point. We weren't able to pinch her quite right. And she made us pay. So those moments are certainly heartbreaking.
And we'll finish with Jen.
Hey, Elena, with going back to Tosh, how early in the game did you have an idea like, oh, she's going to be scoring a lot tonight, or she's hot?
I felt it from warm-ups with her, just her focus and the way she was communicating with the team. You don't even have to see the ball go in. You can just see a focus in her. And honestly, by playing with her for this many years, I know that in a elimination game like this, she's going to play her absolute best game and do everything she can to get it done. And unfortunately, we weren't able to, help her out.
And how did you see her just, she's talked throughout the season, particularly when you and Ariel were out, about, her and Slim having to kind of watch their composure and make sure that they were calm for the team. How did you see her kind of like contain her emotions in a game that had such high stakes tonight?
She, spoke and got in us when she needed to, but she also knew the time to kind of hang back and say, look, we got to take a deep breath. And we all try to, handle huddles together. So it's not always just one person. So I felt like we at least did a good job with that. But she was able to read the game and what was needed to be said at different moments.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, Elena.
Wild season, ton of adversity, injuries and ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. When you look back on this year, what's going to stick out in your mind?
Our relentlessness. We were dealt a lot of storms this season, and we figured a way out. We battled, we pushed through. We played crazy amount of minutes. We played with 7 at times. We played with 8 at other times. we were relentless this entire season. And so a moment like this sucks because I feel like we could have taken this series back to DC. That's not how it played out, but I am really proud of the relentlessness of this group. And if you look at our team and any other team in the W, if they lost 3 starters, what would they be? They wouldn't be in playoffs. So it says a lot about our team. It says a lot about the grit and relentlessness that Washington Mystics basketball plays with. I know y'all counted us out. But again, you have a team lose 3 starters for 2 months of their season. Are they going to end up in playoffs? It's 30 points off the board each night.
You know, going into tonight, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. You do a lot of times, but specifically this time. And Elena just said a minute ago, she could see it from you in warmups that I kind of saw you also. You kind of had this look on your face. What was going through your mind kind of before the game, how you wanted to approach it, and then what started working so well once you got, cooking from early?
I was going to be a villain and I was going to be a dog tonight, and I was going to stay on Sabrina for as much as I could at the game. It is what it is. I want to establish myself. I'm a first team all defense. I'm first team all defense, and I don't get the credit. I know that we have a defensive player of the year starting at the top of our defense, but she has a first team all defense behind her too. And so I wanted to establish myself, and also as a point guard. I'm one of the best point guards in this league, period. And I don't get the respect that I deserve. So in a game like this, environment like this, I just wanted to lead by example first and foremost, and we needed a dog tonight. And I think everyone followed suit and just didn't have enough in our tank. Thank you, Kareem. Oh, we got Pepper in the front, and then I'll come to you. That's cool. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Tasha. It's good
Hi,
to see
good.
you. We just had your coach and Elena in here, and they both talked about kind of what you mean to this team. So from your perspective, what does it mean to have their full support in a night where you had your career high?
Oh, man. You're going to get me emotional. I've been in DC for 8 years. It is the only team that looked at me coming out of college. It is the only coaching staff that believed in me. I went through a lot of growing pains throughout my career. So to be where I am today, to be where my feet are today, I'm really proud. And I know the younger version of myself would be proud. I know my family is really proud. And the support that I've had from the Mystics organization, both on and off the court, you don't see that in this league. I can be a villain. I say what I want. I say it with my chest, and that can sometimes reflect badly, not only on myself, but the organization. But, when you ruffle feathers, it's good trouble, right? And to have a organization, we see in sports world, players that speak up can be blackballed out. They can lose their jobs. They can be moved. So to have the support of the Mystics organization through and through, it's been a blessing for 8 years, but it really means a lot to me to wear DC across my chest. And yeah, I just hope that I made our organization, our fans, and my family proud. I'm still a thug, y'all, even though I cry. These are thug tears.
Oh. Hey, Tosh. I wanted to ask you a little bit, going off of Pep's question, actually, about your offense. You talked about being a villain defensively, but
Yeah.
I mean, you really put on a show today. And although some people in the crowd were definitely waving, I think you also, you got a lot of, exactly. So what's your reaction to first how you were able to perform offense? Because you put us on notice of that as well.
Yeah.
But then the crowd and the reception that you've received.
Yeah, I've grown a lot offensively, and shout out to my trainer, James Clark, and Safu Bernard, our position coach, because they really helped me just grow and be confident in my game and just continue to expand. Every year I want to get better. And so we have goals in the off season of where I can be better. And I really try to work my hardest to just be the best version of myself every year and every game for my team. So I'm really proud of my performance. I am a player, though, that defense brings my offense. So because I was so amped up on defense with Sabrina, I felt like it was my night. But also, I didn't help us in game one. having like what I think I had 4 points in game one, maybe 7. I don't even know what it was, but I've been a scorer for this team, and I feel like I let our team down in game one. So I just wanted to come out and just be aggressive, and it helps me as a point guard. I think sometimes people can forget. Yes, I'm a point guard. I love passing more than I love scoring. That's a rare thing. And I understand what my job is to get the scorers around me the ball and put them in successful situations. But sometimes I forget that if I'm aggressive, it actually opens up what I want to do even more, makes my job easier to assist. And I feel like that's what happens tonight. But yeah, the love that I felt off the court, you know, the waving, I'm from Philly, so that shit don't bother me. That's part of the game. That's a part of being a fan too. But that's what got me upset out there, was just feeling all the love from your fans. So I really appreciate that, Liberty fans. It was a great environment to play in. Like, this is things that we dreamed of since the time that we were kids. So to feel that love coming off the court, it just was like a reiteration to me that I really did leave everything that I could on the floor. And I knew New York is very similar to Philly. We love hard workers. We love gritty ass players. So I really did appreciate it. So thank y'all. Thank you.
Natasha, 2 quick ones for you. First, what did you think was the ultimate difference, I guess, especially in overtime? Secondly, you and Sabrina had hugged it out after the game, so you don't have to necessarily disclose what you said to each other if you don't want to, but what was that moment like?
Yeah. I think the biggest difference was, I mean, I feel like we could have closed it out. Probably should have challenged that JJ foul at the end of the game just to try to challenge it, see if we get a call. The difference in overtime, we just missed some chippies, and they were able to capitalize off those chippies, and they went to their mains and they made plays. And it's really hard to go down to the wire with a really good team, right? It can shift anyway. So that was the difference in the overtime. And then after the game, you know, I knew I talked shit, and I know I was in Sabrina's stuff, and I know I took a few hard fouls on her. Even though I take that villain role in the game, I have a lot of respect for what Sabrina and who Sabrina is, what she is to our league, who she is as a player. And so I just wanted iron sharpens iron. So that's what I said to her. It's no bad love or anything. I really do respect her as a player, enough that I had to make her my primary focus tonight in game 2. But I just wanted to make sure that I said that, because sometimes, you know, everyone loves W beef, but I don't want no beef. It's all respect. It's all love. Like, I talk my shit, and I feel like I had to come in and cash that deposit that I made. So no, it's just all love. Thank you.
In the back, you know, as you start to reflect on this game, is there one basket or one moment that for whatever reason is just sticking out in your mind? Yeah.
Personally, for me, my stupid ass turnover at the end with 10 seconds left, I thought Slim was popping and she came to the ball. So that's on me as a point guard. I'm always going to take that, but it doesn't come down to one play. I feel like that's what I said in the locker room, because obviously heads are down and we're upset, but it doesn't come down to one play. If we could each just be better in one area or one possession of the game, it makes a difference in the game. So you know, we're not focusing on one play. We win as a team and we lose as a team. And I think that's the special part about our locker room and our environment. And yeah, that's just how sports works. Sometimes shit doesn't fall into your favor.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thank you.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you.